ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another episode of the GC Informer. My name is Max, and we have quite a few news stories to get into, so let's get right into it. First things first is that the next Final Fantasy game, be it Final Fantasy 16 or whatever they end up calling it, will likely be open world just like Final Fantasy 15. Not that other Final Fantasy games haven't necessarily had open worlds, but none had an open world kind of like Final Fantasy 15 did. You know, this had an open world more akin to like Horizon Zero Dawn or more 2016-2017 type games, The Witcher 3 for example. Final Fantasy 15 director Hajime Tabata came out and said they may learn a lot from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and they can incorporate a lot of those games' elements into their new Final Fantasy game. I think that'd be interesting. Final Fantasy 15 was one of my favorite games of last year. I'd say it was even my game of the year last year. I just really related with those characters, and I just thought the open world was brilliant, especially in a time when I was kind of on an open world burnout. It still managed to pull me in that weird way Square Enix can kind of do with their games. Very, very big fan of it, and looking forward to whatever comes next out of the Final Fantasy franchise. The highly anticipated Metroid Samus Returns is now here, and the devs have already announced a beta for the next game. The game is called Raiders of the Lost Planet, and it's actually live right now until Monday the 18th. The beta is coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and it's going to include some multiplayer as well as the first two single-player missions. And then, interestingly enough, the game is coming out on September 22nd for those same consoles, so this beta is only a couple days before the full game's release. This is likely just to test servers and all that, but the game looks pretty cool. I'd recommend checking it out. It's free. It's an open beta. Might as well. There's another game that came out recently. You may have heard of it, Destiny 2. And this weekend in Destiny 2, Xur is actually here. He kind of missed out on that first weekend, which makes sense because it was the first weekend and people still had to actually learn the game. But now we've had some time and he's here, and he had a very powerful weapon that they are comparing it to the Galahorn from the first game. It's an exotic fusion rifle called Merciless. I made sure to go pick that up this morning before doing anything else. And then he has a single armor piece for all three of the classes. Each of these pieces comes in at power level 270. You know what's interesting about Xur this time though is that he's on Nessus and there's a waypoint straight to him. There's no rush for players to go find wherever the hell he is. I guess it's a bit different because he's not at the tower or anything. This time he's actually on a planet, and that could be anywhere when it comes to the second game, whereas in the first game he was always in the tower, so you just had to search through that small area. This kind of leads to the question of everyone going to need to find him anywhere, but at the same time there's so many Destiny players that he still would have been found pretty much instantly in the first place. So it does kind of suck that Bungie ruined that little activity that we all got to bond together over. Speaking of Destiny, do you remember that expansion that leaked last week? Well, it's now been confirmed to be real. Bungie marketing director Eric Osborne came out and tweeted that it's not a leak, it's very, very real. The expansion is called Curse of Osiris, and it's going to be taking us to Mercury and focus on Ikora, the head of the Warlocks. Which is me, I'm a Warlock, so that's exciting. So the PC version of the Call of Duty World War II open beta will be live on September 29th, going until October 2nd. The beta will be available for preload, but you will need to pass some minimum spec requirements before being able to play it, which makes sense. From what I remember, the reaction to the World War II beta on consoles was lukewarm. You know, I heard it's still Call of Duty, I heard it's good. It's better than Advanced Warfare, it seems, but it's still Call of Duty, so if that's something you really want, then be sure to try out that beta. If you're on the fence, still try out the beta. And then last but not least, for today's news, if you're still on the fence about Overwatch, the game is getting a free weekend this September 22nd through to the 25th. So next weekend. The free weekend is taking place on all platforms and there will be no limitations. You have full access to the entire game because Blizzard really wants your money and you're probably going to buy it once you try it out. It's just a really good game. Overwatch, you know, it has that Blizzard magic that no other developers can seem to replicate no matter how hard they try. Anyways folks, that's about it for today's episode of the GC Informer. As always, hope you enjoyed and leave your thoughts and stuff in the comments down below. Always love seeing what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned to GameCast for all of your gaming needs.